For anyone out there who's not married watching my videos, can I just say something? Marriage should not be your ultimate goal in life.
Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, we'll be talking about why marriage should not be your ultimate goal in life. So I've put the videos together so that you watch and learn. I'll be back to share my choices.
For anyone out there who's not married watching my videos, can I just say something? Marriage should not be your ultimate goal in life. I'm not sure where it began. There's a bunch of influences, but I'm not sure where it originated, that we started to center our existence around marriage or the prospect of marriage. And if we don't reach it by a certain age, things start to get a little bit depressing. Then we have to deal with pressure from things like Hollywood and movies where we see these people getting married at such young ages, which it's fake, but they tell us subconsciously that if we're not married by 25, we're going to get old and die alone. And then there's societal pressure. We see everyone around us getting married and people pressuring us to get married. And then if we're not married by a certain age, we start to feel like we're getting left behind. And then what that ends up causing is number one, we get depressed because again, we see people doing these things and we feel left behind. Or number two, which I think is worse, we, out of peer pressure, get into relationships and marriages that were set up and destined to fail since it began. And then once you feel unfulfilled in a relationship that was never meant to be fulfilling in the first place, that is when the lying happens, the cheating happens. That's when divorce rates start to spike up, because you didn't go into marriage because you wanted to. You went into it because you felt like you had to. Please allow me to set you free right now from all of that pressure and let you know that marriage should not be your ultimate goal in life. Don't get me wrong. I love being married. It is honestly one of the best things that's ever happened to me. But as much as I champion marriage, I also champion being single. Because if you fail to treat your single days as you should, you're not going to be equipped to handle your married days as you should. These are the days that you have to figure out who you are. This is when you take yourself out to eat. This is when you look inward and figure out what internal issues you have to resolve before you invite someone else into your life or accept someone else's invitation. Because I'll tell you right now, our focus as a society is on the wrong thing. We're focused on getting the right person, but we're not focused on being the right person. We want to take cute couple pictures and post them, but we're not focused on what happens behind the lens if things aren't working properly. We are focusing on a wedding, but not a marriage. And I'll tell you, marriage is a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice. And I know a lot of you say every time you talk, you make marriage seem like such a bad idea. Listen, if you're not willing to put in the work, if you're not willing to sacrifice things that you need to sacrifice, please don't get married. Because at the end of the day, you're going to sabotage something that you thought was going to be a good thing. And then you're going to blame the institution instead of looking inward and taking accountability. But that's a whole different video. Right now, I'm telling you, enjoy being single. Do not let societal pressures influence your decision making. Because if you don't know who you are before you get married, who are you going to be when you do get married? And I don't know, but something tells me that if we were to emphasize being happy and content while being single, then we would not see so many failed marriages. But I don't know. What do I know?
What's a scam that's become so normalized that we don't even realize it's a scam anymore?
Marriage is a scam. And I'm going to tell you what I mean in a minute. Marriage is a scam because for most people, when you get married, you do not have a clue what you're actually getting yourself into. We're not prepared well enough for when we get married. I know I certainly wasn't given any information. I wasn't told what to expect. I was given like a 30-minute lecture after I was married by my parents. Too late, obviously. But in general, women just are not prepared. They're not prepared enough for what marriage is really like. And maybe there's a good reason for that. Maybe if you told people what marriage was like, they wouldn't want to do it. But what is scary about this is that women who are never married and who don't have a long-term relationship are somehow viewed as broken. They are made to feel like there's something wrong with them, like they've been rejected by the world. And they're given names like spinster. Spinster is a specific word designed for older women who have never been married. Can you imagine there's even a specific word? They're talked about in hushed voices. Oh, she never got married. Yeah, oh, poor thing. They're looked at with pity. People use sentences like, they've been left on the shelf. As if there's something wrong with not marrying or not having a long-term relation. There's nothing wrong with it. And the important thing, this is really for the single women who feel, this age, I've never been married, all my friends are married, they have kids, blah blah blah, all of those thoughts, because I know a lot of single women go through that. It's for you to understand something. Marriage is not the be all and end all. You don't have to be married to be happy. And the truth about it is that if you have an issue with yourself, if you don't love yourself, if you have self-worth issues, self-esteem issues, marriage is not going to fix that. Marriage will not fix that. And in fact, married to the wrong person is going to make that worse. Remember, there are a lot of marriages that are like prison. They're a prison cell. People want to get out, but they can't. They can't get out because finances, because they've got kids, because they've got to think about so many complicated issues. People are trapped in loveless marriages, in marriages that are dysfunctional, toxic, abusive. And I know it's human nature for us to want what we don't have. But I think it's important, if you're single, to understand that there's nothing wrong with you just because you are not married. And actually, you are independent and you can live life on your own terms. So instead of focusing on what you don't have, which is what we tend to do, focus on what you do have, which is independence, freedom to live your life as you choose, to travel, to do whatever it is that you want to do. Marriage is not the be all and end all. It's just one way of living. You don't have to live in the same way as everybody else.
Reasons why I don't want to get married, I actually made a list because I have ADHD and I will go around the world before I get to the point. I'm kind of doing that right now. So starting with number one, studies have shown that single childless women live longer, and I do believe that. I also don't like the idea of sharing my space with someone in the long-term sense. That really freaks me the fuck out. It's actually really disgusting and ghetto. Unless I'm married rich or into land or into, something tangible, I literally wouldn't benefit from it. I don't want kids, and because I don't want kids, I kind of don't really see the point in getting married, because marriage mostly seems like a construct to raise your children in, right? And that's just how I view things. I don't want to be emotionally responsible for someone long term. I feel like marriage would be a backup plan for me. I saw someone say that in a marriage, you're going to work 10 times harder for that life of leisure, married to, a provider man, blase, blase, versus just doing it yourself and, working hard and getting your education and doing what you need to do to make sure you can provide the life that you want for yourself. Being the rich man versus marrying a rich man. Being the hypergamous woman that I am, there is always some sort of a benefit for me when it comes to having a man in my life. That's where I draw the line. I'm not looking for anything that goes further than that. I'm not looking for the commitment of marriage. And in order to be in my presence, there are some things that are non-negotiables, and that's just what it is. Those are just some of my many reasons. I don't judge anyone for what they desire. If a person wants to get married or have kids, that's to each their own. Seriously.
The birth rate around the world is going down. Women don't want to have kids no more. And I guess for good reason, right? Just like how men don't want to get married anymore. They're not seeing the benefits. I think it's in Korea. There's a 4B movement where women are refusing to have kids, all that kind of stuff. On top of that, there's a stigma of being a single mother. So women are like, all right, then I ain't gonna have no kids, right? Not until I'm married. But even when they get married, they still feel like a single mom. And the other flip side, men are like, I don't want to get married because I don't see the benefits. I get married to this woman, and then if she divorced me, she takes half my stuff. I don't see the benefit. So men don't see the benefits of marriage. Women don't see the benefits of having kids. But they're not going to have kids unless they get married. But men don't want to marry them, but still want to have kids. So we're at an impasse, people. Like, both sides don't see the benefits of marriage or kids because they feel like they get the short end of the stick. So what do we do? At this rate, the population will not be able to replenish itself. Like, we're going to lose more people than we gain. What does that do for infrastructure, economy? They said by 2050, it's going to be wild in these streets. So I don't know. What can we do? Neither party's happy. What do you guys think?
That's a video, guys. I'm just here also to share my true sense, like what I think about today's video. Why marriage should not be your ultimate goal. So that's right. Marriage is not the pinnacle or human existence. It's not your purpose. And if you've ever been made to feel like your worth, it depends on whether or not someone choose you to be their husband or wife, I want to help you unlearn this today, ladies. Let's start with how we are conditioned. From the time we are little kids, especially girls, we are groomed to dream about our wedding day. The white dress, the ring, the cake, the slow dance, it's all part of the fantasy. Our toys get married, our movies end with a proposal. Our aunties and uncles are always asking, when are we settling down? The idea is planted early that life begins after marriage. But I'm here to tell you that life doesn't begin at the altar. Life happens right now. And the more we idolize marriage, the more we miss out on everything else we are meant to experience. The problem with treating marriage like a goal is that we start performing, we start doing things for the idea of marriage instead of doing things for ourselves. People stay in toxic relationship because at least I'm not alone. Others lower their standard to tolerate disrespect or rush into something they are not ready for, all because they feel like it's ticking. That's not love, that's fear, that's insecurity, that's pressure. And let's talk about the pressure when you put marriage on a pedestal. You start to feel like a failure if it doesn't happen on time. People feel ashamed, anxious, or unworthy because they're not engaged by 30. Social media doesn't help either. Everyone's showing off their rings, baby bumps, couple vacations, but what they don't show is what happens behind closed doors. The fights, the disconnect, the emotional neglect. Sometimes the people we are envying are the loneliest ones. You could have the most beautiful wedding and still be miserable in the marriage. Because here's the truth that doesn't get talked about enough: marriage does not equal happiness. It never has. Happiness comes from the purpose, healing, connection, growth, and self love. Some of the saddest people are married people. Some of the most fulfilling people are single people. Marriage is not a magical portal to better life. It's a relationship that requires work, communication, and alignment. And if you enter it just to feel complete, you're going to be disappointed. It's time we stop chasing weddings and start building lives. Real lives. Lives filled with joy, discovery, independence, peace. You can travel solo. You can start a business. You can emotionally be stable. You can thrive on your own. Marriage might come later. And if it doesn't, amazing. But if it does not, you are still whole. You're still with, you're still living a life that matters. The reason so many people feel lost when their relationship ends is because they built their entire identity around being a partner, around being someone's wife or someone's husband. But who are you outside of that? What makes you so light? What legacy are you building for yourself? These are the questions we need to ask before we get married, not after. I'm not anti marriage. I'm pro purpose. Okay. I'm pro healing. I'm pro doing the inner work before we commit ourselves to someone else's world. I've seen too many people regret the life they thought would save them. They got the spouse but lost themselves in the process. That's not a win, that's a warning. We need to normalize being single and happy, normalize creating a soft, fulfilling, independent life, normalize choosing peace over pressure because you don't need a ring to be respected. You don't need a husband or wife to validate your timeline. You don't need to alive through marriage. You already alive when you start living alignment with you, who you are, who truly you are. If marriage happens, let it be a beautiful bonus. Let it be a partnership that supports your growth, not one that demands you shrink to fit into someone's expectations. But if it doesn't happen, you're still enough. You still belong, and you still can still alive a life full, rich and deeply meaningful. So to the woman who's feeling behind because she's not engaged, to the man who's feeling like he's not established because he's not married yet, to anyone who's ever been married to feel like their life has not started because they're not wearing a ring, I'm here to tell you your life is not a pause on pause, it's happening. You owe it to yourself to live it boldly. Okay, so a lot of people are not happy in marriages and they don't come out and say, I'm going through this. Everyone is going through their own things, okay? And not no any marriage is perfect because we are all imperfect people meet together and start a life together. You get the it's not easy to live with someone in the same house. It's not easy. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of prayer, and a lot of a lot of yes, patience, because you can't live with someone because you don't have patience. It takes some respect to the level for you to live with someone. Okay, because most of these marriages conditioned. You live upon men. Men are always the head of the house. And most of the women, even if you say anyone, you're not even head in the house. Okay. And people still claim that there's still healthy relationship where people, they are in good terms, they agree at a certain point. So before you get married, ask yourself questions. Are you ready mentally to stay with someone? Okay, because it will need your whole patience. You are going to go through things which you think like, okay, this is this because of marriage. Okay, so you need to make yourself ready to live with someone and ready to go through problems, because and you should learn how to solve those problems. You need to grow your mind up if you're young to solve all those problems, because it's not actually easy. I'm not saying don't get married, but you just need to know all these things. I'm not advising you, because actually myself I'm married. You get my point? So it's just actually an advice for you guys. Okay? So when you meet a man, know that man before you get married. Because when you rush to get to marry someone, it may not end well. Okay, date them enough so that you know. I know you can't know them 100% because you don't live with the person. They only say that you start knowing the true colors of your partner when you start living with them, and that's true. Like, this is when I'm getting the point. Okay, yeah. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate. Thank you for staying tuned. See you in the next episode. Bye.